In the early days of digital, we used filter techniques to try and make up for the fact that our early digital cameras were very low resolution, especially when compared to those we use now. I think some of those techniques have lost favour over time, but here we're going to take a look at a watercolour effect. The problem with filters is they're very easy to apply. That means the effect can easily be repeated, which in turn makes it less appealing. My idea is to try to use filters a little bit differently, so the result's a little bit more unique to me, and therefore more appealing. Well, that's the plan anyway. Let's take a look. Sometimes a very high resolution image may not react as well to filters as a lower resolution one. This is 4000 pixels on the long side, but I need about 3 versions of this layer, so let's create those to start. Selecting the top layer of the 3, I want to create an edge effect. I'm going to do that in my filters. I'm going to go to Blur and Smart Blur. Down the bottom, I'm going to change the quality to high and the mode to edge only. Now we get the opportunity to make changes here, and there is a degree of experimentation required, but I'm going to leave these at the default setting and just click OK. It's going to produce white lines on a black background, and what I'd like to have is black lines on a white background. That means I need to invert the layer. Now we're going to find that in the image menu, but Control I for invert is much quicker. Now I'd like to turn that layer off just temporarily and select the middle layer of the 3, because what I'd like to do here is to add a filter effect. Now what filter effect you add is entirely up to you. A little experimentation is the key. Now we're trying to keep this video down to 5 minutes, or certainly under 6. So I've gone ahead and I've applied an alien skin filter, which is in the watercolour category, and it's called Long Brush Strokes. I've used it straight out of the box, so to speak. I've not made any changes, just accepted it. Now I need to turn on that top layer and select it, because I want to apply one of the blend modes. Now we just need to select a blend mode here that appeals to us, so we're all going to choose something a little different. But again, in the interest of speed, I'm not going to go down too far. As you can see, I could select darken. Multiply doesn't look too bad, nor does the color burn. And now you can see what I mean about how many lines we actually create in the layer that I'm currently blending. But here I'm going to just select color burn. Once I've got to this stage, I could make some changes. I could recreate that and create more or less lines. But again, in the interest of speed, I'm going to select both of these layers, right click and choose to merge them together, because we always have an original sitting at the bottom of the layered stack. So if we wanted to bring a little more detail through from the filtered layer, we can go down and add a layer mask. If we go over and select black as our foreground color, if we select a nice soft edge brush with a flow rate of something like 5 to 10%, if I wanted to increase the detail in the church or the buildings in the distance, the mask allows that to be done. And you can now see how this can be a little more unique than applying a simple straight filter effect. Now let's add a nice easy texture by going to the top right of the layers first of all and flattening the image. Then we need to go up to our layers menu, top left of the screen, choose a new layer. But I want to select from the mode here, overlay, and I want to tick the box to fill it with 50% grey. There we can see that layer, but we don't actually see it over the top of the image. Now with that layer selected, if I go to my filters, texture and texturizer, and in the interest of speed, I'm going to select the burlap with 200% scaling and a relief of 4. Click OK to that, and of course we've got the added advantage here with the texture being on a new layer. Let me just zoom in a little bit and you can see the effect more clearly. Now I used alien skin filters here, but I've used topaz as well for these effects. In fact, we can use any filter that simplifies the layer to allow the lined layer to pick out the shapes. With this example, I've created the effect using exactly the same techniques, but the base filter here is plastic wrap and the cutout filter, which are both a part of Photoshop. Just tap into your creativity and experiment a little. Don't forget to subscribe and like, please, and I'll see you next time.